Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kaki from Bias Games. And we're back with some Wargame Red Dragon. And today we're gonna be doing a My Deck video, where we go through some of the decisions you go through choosing your decks, and what is good and what isn't good, and how the combinations mix. So today I've chosen a blue 4 Eurocorps group, which is the French and West German nations, almost said factions. And we're going to be going through the various units and systems I have for this. So let's get started. So first of all is logistics. Now, being um, that I normally use up a lot of logistical supplies, I take 2 FOBs. Doesn't matter if you have German or French, they have the same amount, so you don't have to worry about that. Then I have the matches. I'll just call it the CH-53G chopper supply vehicle, which has 3,700 liters of supply, which is a very good amount, and you can get it to your points on the battlefield pretty quickly, so that is a good bonus there. You can only have 3 of them, but they're a good addition to your logistical group for any divisions, especially if, say, you have a faraway group that needs supplies urgently. This is your man you want. Then I have the normal Jupiter trucks. It holds the most out of the French and why do I have Jupiter? I should have Mancartes. Yes, Mancartes. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Quick swap there. Alright, 6 Mancartes 6x6s. It has 1,700 liters of supply, which is very good. For a supply truck, that is. And then last but not least, we have the Iltis command unit. Now, there are many different units you can have. Like, for example, you can get a Panzerbefehlswagen Leopard, which is the command unit for the Germans, or same for the French. I believe, yes, they do have a one for the AMX-30. There we go. But they're a lot more expensive, and you can only have 2 of them. So, or 3, I believe, if you choose that one. So, in the long run, they might be a lot more difficult to hit, but you can take as many points. Now, I have tried it before. It is a good strategy, but sometimes it is lacking if you're in a support or main front lines unit. If you're a front lines unit, then go for a command tank. But if you're more of a support unit that has to defend the sides with just covering your center, then go for a smaller command unit. It's much less easy to spot, and this is your man. And it's a lot cheaper too, so. Then we go to our infantry group. Now here I do have some great French units in here. I have the ATG Milan F3 with a Panther helicopter. Now, these are great for getting your units, say, to a far-off position, capturing a strategic point quickly, and just with some extra firepower, it has these 68mm rockets to just pummel enemies that are trying to get to you quickly. So there I have that. Then we have our normal sort of infantry units with an AMX-13 VTT, with a normal sort of machine gun, M2 Browning machine gun on it. Then I have the units that I most like in this game, the Panzer Grenadiers with a Marder 1A2. There you can get it with the Marder 2, but it's more expensive, and it doesn't have that much extra stuff to go with. So spare a bit of cash and get a Marder 1A2. The Marders are pretty good against infantry units. Don't put them against tanks, however, they won't succeed as much. So just a little side note. I do, however, have the Marder 2. As you can see, it is a bit better as it has those 50mm rounds. The only advantage is this Marder 2 can go up against tanks, so they do have that in their, yes, 6 AP power with 1 HE power. So that is pretty good for an APC carrier, basically. Then we have the German Fliegerfaust, which is basically the anti-air infantry that you can park in buildings. So if you have like a huge swarm of helicopters coming over you, you get these guys in buildings and they just pick them off with those Stinger missiles of them. Then we have our support units, Now we've got Caesars. Firstly, the Caesar French artillery piece, which I do have to say I quite like. I've seen a lot of artillery units so far, and this one to me has some of the best range, and the dispersion is quite low, which is unheard of in artillery pieces, especially with that long of a range. So great range, and the dispersion is immaculate. So these guys I am really looking forward to test out. I haven't tested out this deck yet, so I will definitely want to test this thing out. But a very good um, artillery unit with a lot of HE power and suppression, and its rate of fire is also very good for its size. It has a 155mm cannon, so pretty good. Then I have the French Crotal anti-air missile unit, which fires 4 infrared missiles. It has great range against helicopters, but it isn't so great against airplanes. But it has an added bonus of 60% accuracy, which is very good. So this one is going to be more sort of in buildings, close to buildings. If I get swarmed by helicopters, this is the unit I want to use. Now this is the FRP Roland, German Roland. Now this unit I really like because of its range against airplanes. This is my main go-to airplane as a killer. Now it has great range on helicopters as well. As you can see, Kurtal just has a couple of 100 meters extra than the Roland has. But great range still. And it has 5% more accuracy than the Kurtal, which is excellent. Now what I do typically is put these guys in my main base, my main occupying base, and these guys pick off any surprise attack that might come through to attack my FOBs or something like that, or jet fighters that tries to bomb us. These guys are the units you want to have there. Then I have my Flak Panzer Gepard A2s, which are very good units. They have great range against helicopters and airplanes, some of the best, especially with cannons, and it has infrared missiles for close range anti-air interception, which is great. And also these guys also kill ground units, so added bonus. Now they're very good against helicopters, also planes, but they have to get much closer than with the missile variant Roland and the Crotals. So do keep that in mind. But it has also 55% stabilizer, which gives it a much better accuracy range, basically. And I've got these guys, which are basically just cheap mortars or cheap artillery pieces that just fire what are they called? Grenades, not grenades. Mortar shells at the enemy, and they're very good for, as you can see, 700-meter distance. Not bad dispersion, so they're great at clearing out small infantry groups in buildings or small tank battalions coming down a road, or just throwing smoke if you're falling back or retreating. So great units overall. And then tanks. Now, unfortunately, the French don't have very good tanks. The only good one they have is the Leclerc, and it is only 10 points less than the Leopard 2A5. And for me, it's better to spend 10 points more, but the Leopard 2A5 has better armor and better everything, basically. So that is why I did not go for any French tanks. But I have the Kylers, which are basically my spam tanks. They're pretty good beginning tanks. They have great frontal armor, so they can take on early APC carriers, words, personnel carriers, and they also are pretty good against helicopters with its 20 millimeter round cannon. So keep that in mind. Then I will go them in succession of order. Leopard 1A5 is also very good spam tank. They're a bit less armored than the Kylers, but they're also very good. Have the 105mm round cannon, excellent gun, and these guys are very good, very difficult to penetrate frontally, because of the sloped armor on the turret, and they have very good long range. As you can see, the range is quite excellent on. It has the same range as the Kyler, so very good. Then I have two Leopard 2s. Basically, I just went full YOLO mode on the Leopard 2s, so I can spam the Leopard 2 units because they have great frontal armor. Not the best frontal armor, but great against most Soviet tanks. And their AP power is very good. So these basically 20 Leopard 2s will be very dangerous in the long run. Then I have my basically my big Leopard 2A5s, which has 22 frontal armor, some of the best in the game, and it stabilizes with accuracy of 70%, which is amazing. So this is my great tank lineup I have here. Now recon, I have just these Alouettes, I believe they're called. I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation. Great cheap French helicopters that you can put on your um, flanks to make sure nobody's trying to engage you from the flanks or ambush you or something like that. So great units for just a side check, making sure nobody tries anything. Then our vehicles, and this is one of my difficult choices because I'm not always sure what to choose for vehicles. So I tend to take different stuff every time. But I have sort of a down-to-earth thing. So I have Flak Panzers M42A1s. Now these are great, like cheap anti-air, if I don't have any more of the expensive support anti-air. Then these guys are great. Or if you have, say, a large tank unit group that is moving up a road or is advancing, then you can send these guys in to try to take to cover basically your tanks, just so that enemy planes and helicopters don't just attack and kill all of your tanks immediately. Then I have the Kanonenjagdpanzer, which is basically a very cheap and very good anti-tank tank destroyer, and it has a very good MG machine gun as well. Now it doesn't have the best AP power, but it is, and also not the best armor, but it is good for sort of woods or building ambushes, side ambushes. Get these guys in the side and just shoot away. Your enemies won't be there when the smoke clears. Now the Marder VTS-1 is also a anti-tank. Now this one has a lot better, as you can see, AP power with a very good range, and for just 5 more than the Kanonjagdpanzer. And as you can see, both of them can be very spammy units, so you can get a lot of them. So very good tank destroyer groups that I have just for in case of emergencies. And I have these anti-tank missile launcher units with great range and a good supply of missiles to make sure that it doesn't run prematurely, and it has 22 AP power, which can even pen my Leopard 2A5. So moving on, then helicopters, I don't have a lot in the way of helicopters. I just have the Tiger HAD or HAD. I'm not sure which pronunciation is the correct one, but it has a 30mm gun, Gatling gun, with 24 68mm rocket pods, and 8 Saklos missiles, Hot 2 missiles, which are very good. This is basically my counter deterrent for enemy tank movement, just to make sure that if I am in a bit of a whammy and they've taken out all my tanks, I can put these at a long range distance, just pick off their tanks. So that is the idea with this one. Now with air, I went with a more French-based air because the Germans didn't have a big air force in this game or at that time. Take your pick. Now I have the Mirage Fict or F1CT, F1CT, sorry. It has a good 3mm gun. It has 6 450 kilogram bombs and 2 infrared missiles, just for in case if it needs to attack enemy planes or is in a dogfight. So this is a good bomber with great range against units. Then I have my trusty Tornado 1DS, which I absolutely love. Same range as the Mirage F1CT, with 4 500 kilogram bombs and great accuracy as well. And it has 27mm Mauser cannons and 4 infrared missiles, also for protection. Then my air superiority fighter is the Mirage 2000C RDI with 3mm guns, infrared missiles, and semi-active radar missiles for good dogfighting stability. Now I could have gone with the Rafale CF1, But you can only get one of these, and although they're very good, in my luck, I always get shot down by anti-air. So I rather went with the choice of getting, how many is it? Three, yes, three Mirages, so I get more air superiority. And that is the Eurocorps deck for today. And no Navy, because that is for free, so you can just put any Navy units you want to. So that's basically a basic guideline to a Eurocore group. You of course can suggest in the comments below. I'm definitely not an expert in any way. Please tell me what your thoughts are, what your suggestions are in the comments below. What works, what doesn't. If is my tanks correct, or do you suggest other tanks? Please let me know. Um, but if you like this video, click the thumbs up button and subscribe down below to stay in touch with all our latest content and wargame stuff and all our great stuff that we have on the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and goodbye.